Hey everyone, this is Mario again, coming at you with another movie review. Now before we get into the review, if my face looks a little different, it's because last night I bit the inside of my lip and it's a little swollen right now right here, so if that interferes with how I pronounce certain stuff or my voice at all, just a heads up. You know how it is. You know, sometimes you chew on the inside of your mouth, sometimes you bite too hard. It's like that, only closer to my lips, so it's a little swollen. Not as much as it was last night. Last night it looked like someone punched me square in the mouth. That Uwe Boll came in the middle of the night wanting revenge. Then I whacked him with a chair. Now that would be cool. Now that'd be a cool story. Oh, why's your mouth swollen? Got punched by Uwe Boll? Oh, the punk. Don't worry, I hit him back harder. Now anyway, today's movie, thank God, is not a Uwe Boll movie, but some people consider it to be just as bad. I'm of course talking about the 1997 film directed by the Frenchman Jean-Pierre Jeunet, Alien Resurrection. The funny thing is that this movie was written by Joss Whedon, the guy who directed The Avengers. He's come a long way, hasn't he? Then again, he didn't write The Avengers by himself, and also he didn't have to go off of previous sequel. He had stuff to build up to. Anyway, the movie stars Sigourney Weaver, Winona Ryder, Ron Perlman, Dominique Pinnon, Gary Dourdan, Michael Wincott, Brad Dourif of Child's Play fame, Leland Oscar, among others. Now, we all know the genesis of this movie was it was made after Alien 3. We all know what happens to Ripley at the end of Alien 3. So, if they decided to do another Alien movie, they'd have to go in a new direction, like what they wanted to do if Sigourney didn't want to do the third movie. Well, eventually Sigourney approached them and was like, yeah, let's do another movie. How are we going to do that? You're dead. It's either reboot, which, let's see, reboot, which a lot of fans would probably prefer, or continue on. Let's continue on. So they just got it, and we got a clone of Ripley named Ripley 8. Now, of course, the plot of the movie is it's 200 years after the events of Alien 3. Military scientists in the outskirts of space have successfully cloned Ellen Ripley using DNA samples taken from Fury 161 before her death, which it never explains how. I'm going to guess it never explains where the blood sample is taken from, so I'm guessing it's like blood samples from when she had the bloody noses. Somehow they got them. It's never explained. It's one of the things you could call a plot hole in this movie, but if you think about the bloody noses, you can think around it. But that's just how I guess. They successfully take the embryo of the alien queen out of her stomach, and because she's still viable, they decide to leave her alive to see what happens. Well, apparently, since the alien DNA was mixed with the Ripley DNA, apparently this clone, while being the most perfect one they've made so far, still has some... Anyway, sorry about the mild interruption. Anyway, the DNA is mixed with Ripley's DNA is mixed with the alien DNA in such a way that it gives Ripley some alien-like qualities, which allows Sigourney Weaver to do a different performance, which is what makes her performance in this movie watchable, because it's different than before. I mean, we see her acting a little alien-like, and also she just seems cold and indifferent to everyone, human and alien alike, which is interesting. But it's still kind of a poor substitute for what could have been, because you remember in my Alien 3 review, I talked all about the ideas that they had before. Those would have been better, but as you can tell, this is the weakest entry in the Alien series, which I'm not going to go any more detail to that at the moment. Well, as you can guess, they got the alien queen. They're going to have eggs, so they're going to need hosts, which comes in the form of the cargo that is brought by this group of mercenaries on their ship, the Betty. Well, one of the people on board the ship is a woman named played by Winona Ryder, who apparently knows about Ripley and is trying to sabotage it. She gets caught, and around the time she gets caught, the aliens used it as a distraction to escape, using a new thing we haven't seen them do before, which I thought was actually very interesting. And now all hell's broken loose. And of course the army, they run like idiots. So now it's just left to the few people who are left aboard to escape and destroy the ship in the process. And with that, you can guess it does borrow a little bit too heavily from the first Alien, which is probably which is a kind of a big flaw. And it's just that the way this movie is constructed, you could tell it's not going to be that well once you watch it. It has some interesting moments and ideas, but they all fall flat, especially since it's in the wake of Alien 3. Now, with this was a movie that had been made after the sequels we wanted, it wouldn't have been as bad, because Ripley would have destroyed the source, so it would have made even more sense for them to go after Ripley, the egg in Ripley's DNA, if they wanted to put an alien in Sigourney in the 4th Alien movie that would have been the sequel to the Gibson script, because they could have done it then. But there are interesting ideas like the alien-human crossbred thing. I thought was a little interesting. Granted, because the aliens do act a little bit smarter, whether or not that could be just from the alien DNA or the crossbred is up for debate, I guess. The newborn alien I thought was an interesting idea. It could have been introduced a little bit earlier on in the movie, but it's an interesting idea, and I do love the design. Finally, we get to see an alien with eyes. I love that we get to see the alien queen again, and it's the same animatronic from Aliens, but it's been painted brown to match with the scheme of the other aliens. So that effect is still good. The alien effects are still wonderful. It's not by Stan Winston or whoever who did it in the 3rd movie, if I remember correctly, because I didn't watch the special features disc for this one. But it's still, they're pretty good effects. The acting, so-so. Not as good. I mean, even if you hate Alien 3, you can at least say that the acting in the movie is very good. This movie, not so much. The only good performances in this movie are probably Sigourney Weaver's performance, because it's different, and you can watch it, and first time you're watching it, you're wondering what she's gonna do. Winona Ryder is okay. I mean, it's not her best performance. I mean, I liked her better in Edward Scissorhands and a lot better in Beetlejuice. And I even thought she was way better in Mr. Deeds. The only other one that really comes to mind is Ron Perlman, because his character is slightly over the top at times, but it's warranted. It's just cool to watch him, and this is actually the first movie I saw him in. Yes, I saw him in this movie before Hellboy, but I didn't realize that it was Hellboy at the time. Brad Dourif is also interesting to watch in the scenes he's in, even if he is a little bit freaky, like that scene where he looks like he's trying to seduce the alien. Like, yeah, that's just weird. And then, of course, his last scene, looks like he filmed it when he was on drugs. Just with the way he's saying his lines, it just sounds like that. Beautiful. Or it sounds like he's trying to be the Joker. Now, that actually would be interesting, Brad Dourif as the Joker. That would be interesting, if you think about it. All the other actors are so-so. They fit their roles okay, but it's just the script should have been refined more, or a different story altogether, or even if it was just an original alien idea. Jean-Pierre, this is not really his strong suit, this type of movie, and he's only made a couple other movies since then. Like, most of his movies sound like they'd be dramas. Like, first movie's called Delicatessen, then we got the movie he did before this, City of Lost Children. Then he's only done 3 movies since this: Emily, A Very Long Engagement, and Micmacs. Those all sound like they're dramas to an extent. So I'm guessing that dealing with the sci-fi nature of the film is not his strong suit. They probably should have gotten a director that had a little bit more hands-on approach with sci-fi. I mean, someone could say, but Ridley Scott didn't have a hands-on thing with sci-fi. True, but he's a magnificent director, and he even said that he even admitted he didn't know anything about sci-fi, but he thought he could make something of this one, and he did. And of course, James Cameron, we know he does action and he knows sci-fi. I mean, the Terminator's both, though. And of course, David Fincher, he had a vision that he was never able to fully realize with the version of the script he had, but he still managed to shoot the film beautifully. Even if you don't like the film, you have to admit that the way the film is shot, the shots are set up pretty good. This one, Jean was just the wrong director for the job. And also, after Alien 3, they probably should have just left the Alien franchise involving the Ripley character in any shape or fashion alone, unless they were going to do a reboot. They should have focused on other characters, like the Colonial Marines game. That story, that would have been a good follow-up. Like, explore that thing and then have more firefights, or just leave it alone until they did the AVP mashups that followed, which that's the next reviews. I don't know what order I'm uploading these in yet, so you might or might not have seen my AVP reviews by this point. So as you can tell, I think the movie has flaws, but for what it is, I can watch it at least. I don't watch it that often, for one, because it's not a film I can watch all the time, and partially because my disc messes up sometimes. I don't know why. I don't know if I got a bad disc or scratched it accidentally first time it came out, but I don't know, it did something weird in my PlayStation the time I tried to watch it. It it kept skipping one part. I ended up having to watch the rest of it online because it kept messing up. I don't know if I have to clean the disc very well with something, because I tried Windex and that usually works, didn't do anything. Or maybe I have to watch it in a machine that's built specifically for DVDs, because it usually plays fine in a DVD player. Maybe it'll like skip a little bit, but it does it with the special edition version. I don't know. I haven't. Of course, in the PlayStation even did it with the normal version. I don't know. It's probably just a disc. I hate to do it, but I might have to just replace that one disc, which sucks. The rest of the discs play fine. Even my Alien 3 bonus one, which has some scratches and skipped before I had cleaned it. But anyway, my rating for Alien Resurrection, in all honesty, 3 out of 5. Just for the enjoyment I can get out of it and a few good ideas. But it is a very, very, very flawed film. And with Avengers, Joss Whedon takes a big step up.